Good evening, friends. Stephen and Yana Banoon here with Israeli News Live. And Yana, you got a very interesting, I don't know what you want to call it, a flyer or brochure that is
hmm
posted here. Also, it's on the Facebook page, All Jews as One will cry out for Moshiach. February 21st of this year, 2021, is what this is about. And of course, the flyer is in multiple languages. We have it in Hebrew, they've posted it in Russian, Spanish, it's also in French, several other languages there, according to some of the reports that we've been seeing on this air. But what's interesting is that this is a global call for prayer, joining together all different groups and stuff about praying for the coming of the Mashiach. And I am very alarmed over this because I think about how that, to me, it's an outright rejection of Jesus Christ as our Messiah if you were to participate in something like this.
Well, if you are a Christian and you participate in this, of course, it's a rejection of Jesus. Now, this particular group, all Jews as one, they are getting together with all type of Jews, the religious, non-religious, as well, Ashkenazis, Sephardics. They're calling on anybody that identifies as a Jew to have a prayer and a cry for a Messiah. Now, I think that people do not realize that what we have right now going on with this virus, for soon will be a 1 year anniversary of lockdowns. That they started lockdowns last year, that our life so drastically changed. Everyone's life changed, and everybody says we are in a new normal and it will never go back to pre-COVID conditions. And people are wondering what really happened. Was it really virus? Well, no. What's happening here, we are in a spiritual war, Steve. And this is what has started. People need to realize that all of the happenings right now, everything that's happening right now, is about the Jewish Messiah, which will be the Antichrist. Okay,
Exactly.
they are creating enormous chaos on this planet. And there is a certain group of elite Jews. They're Illuminati, Satanists, the bankers, they own the entire banking system. Then the Rockefellers, who own the entire medical system. Okay, and they are creating the chaos. And after the chaos, they want a new order. Okay, new order will emerge. And they're done with, even with economy model that we had until now. So they're doing the great reset. But all of this comes down to the fact that they want to bring their Messiah. They want to bring the man that will lead this planet, their man that they have been preparing for a very long time. Now, even last year, Steve, if you go to these other links that I sent you, when this lockdown started, before lockdown started, here we go, February 18, 2020, almost a 1 year anniversary.
Yes.
Listen to this news. That was last year during lockdowns, okay, when we were all surprised what on earth is going on. The news came out. Israel's top rabbi says, I'm currently in discussions with the Messiah himself.
Yes.
Okay, they were already saying that Messiah has arrived. He's here. He's just hidden. He's not revealing himself yet. And they're really hiding up with all this chaos and everything they're doing, and ruining economy, ruining middle class, taking over entire medical system, moving it to AI medical system. Okay, and that's why, because they have the Messiah ready. And that was done already last year, Steve, you see. It says, let's read a little bit about this. Haredi rabbi, private secrets concerning the Messiah, was sworn to silence for several decades by hidden righteous men, but they have now ordered him for the first time to publicize their messages about current events and the imminent arrival of the Messiah. They tell him that it is literally a matter of life and death. Okay?
Well, it's interesting you say life and death in the article here, because one of the things that was shared with me is that in order for the Messiah to be accepted, that they must have a global war, because he's to bring some sort of a peace and safety. And then on top of it, we look at all the Arabic nations that are beginning to make peace with Israel. Of course, they're being bought off. That's one thing that people don't realize. They're being bought off. United Arab Emirates, for example, they got a bunch of F-35s in order to join up with Israel. Not United Arab Emirates, but the UAE, or maybe it was United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain, another one. And now I've been told, and it's been confirmed through a friend of mine, Israeli journalist, and then as well another confirmation I just got today, that Israel is now in secret negotiations on Cyprus. Russia's been heading those negotiations with Syria and Israel. And so that's going to be something interesting that you're going to be bringing out in an interview very soon with a friend of ours. Won't mention who that is, but about what these nations have also been doing that you'll be bringing out in the next couple of days there. So, but at any rate, there, continue on with your article here.
Well, over here, the article says, but there are things the public does have to know right now, because the process of Geulah, which is redemption, is about to start happening very quickly and at a fast pace. It is important that people remain calm and steady to act properly in the right time. You see, when they're talking about Geulah or redemption, Christians need to understand also this is not the same concept as in Christianity.
Exactly.
When Jewish rabbis speak of the redemption, they're not talking about redemption from sin, as Christians believe, that Jesus came to redeem us from sin, okay, and connect us back to the Father. But they're talking about their redemption is that the Jews are going to get the rule out of headquarters in Jerusalem, out of Zion, and the nations, they're going to subdue the Gentile nations, and they're going to rule them, and the nations are going to slave them, and all of the riches of the nations are going to be transferred to the Jews. So this is what their Geulah means. And we have to understand their language or their religion, okay, before we are on a bridge with them on, how today Jews and Christians are forming these bridges, but yet there are two very different types of beliefs.
Yes.
Okay, so this thing has been here. They've been talking about this a long time ago. Exactly 1 year ago, Steve. You see, coronavirus, even they mentioned coronavirus, that this is basically the beginning of all of these scares and beginning of redemption process for Jews. So this is not just a coincidence that this coronavirus pandemic happened.
No,
pandemic, should I say.
As you've mentioned before, corona being the word for crown.
Keter, crown.
Exactly.
And I actually sent it to you. Did you I sent you a picture of it.
I haven't seen the picture. No, I don't have that on.
You don't have that, okay. Well, it's the Sephirot tree, right? Kabbalah Sephirot tree, and on the top it says Keter.
Yes.
Okay, and the Keter means corona, which means crown. Keter corona means crown. Yes. So that's basically the starting point of the chaos and kind of a tribulation for the Gentiles and nations, okay, so they can bring about the Messiah, kind of like birthing pains for their Messiah to arrive.
Exactly.
So that's what it means. Anyway, do you have more proofs that I sent you on links, I think?
Yes, we have several things here. We also had you had a video
right.
of
Well,
Mark
what I
Brooks.
want to say with this, when they speak of Geulah, let's not forget that they're talking about Noahide laws for the Gentile nations. Okay, this is part of their theology. This is not going away in any form. In fact, I was supposed to interview Vincent Bruno tonight. It didn't work out, by the way, but in a very soon future, I will interview him because he has some new information how Noahide laws are progressing in a world, especially in Arab world. Okay, that the Israel is making peace agreements with Arab world, and people don't realize what really is happening in the background, that Arab world is agreeing to the Noahide laws.
Well, they know that, as we know, Syria is considered to be the backbone of the Middle East. Either you break the backbone of Syria, or you get Syria to join in with you, and the rest of the Arabic nations will follow. That's why I brought that up a few moments ago. And of course, I alluded to the interview we're going to have with Vincent Bruno, but I didn't know if you wanted that to be spoken about as of yet or not. But yes, they're working secretly with negotiations, and even now, Lior had sent to me and shared with me how that the Syrians are doing an excavation. Actually, the Russians are doing the excavation for them at the agreement with the Syrian government, looking for another Israeli soldier that had been buried in Syria back during the, I believe, 72-73 war. And so it's a cooperation that's ongoing between Syria and Israel now, but all done in secret. And of course, we know the Noahide laws are going to be accepted by the Syrian government. It's going to be part of the movement. Yeah. But if Israel can get Syria in, then the rest of the Arabic nations will follow suit.
Right. Well, also what's very much a fact is that Jewish state does not make peace unless the nation agrees to Noahide laws. This is in their theology. This is in Judaism. You don't make peace with nations unless they agree to the Noahide laws. So that's what's happening. And from Chabad.org, of course, we know that this is their theology. Let's just review it a little bit. We talked about it a lot, but repetition is a good teacher. So here we go. The coming of the Messiah will, by definition, bring a time when the situation will change for all humanity. The Jewish people will properly keep the 613 mitzvot or commandments, and the non-Jews will keep the 7 Noahide laws. You see, there is no other way around it. So everyone, everywhere, will be transformed into peaceful, law-abiding citizens. So this is part of whole things that are going on, and people do not realize what's happening in the background. And this whole thing is a spiritual war.
Well, what's interesting about that as well is the fact that there are so many, even amongst the Christian communities, that are trying to get Christians back under law, constantly talking about law. And I was just reading over in the Gospel of John, and Jesus is dealing with the Pharisees and Sadducees, probably around the 9th chapter. I don't have it right in front of me to be able to share it. But then the Pharisees, they got really angry with some of the, because they had told their soldiers to go and arrest Jesus and bring him back. Now, these were temple guards. These were not Roman. They were temple guards. To go arrest him, bring him back. Well, they come back. They don't bring Jesus with them. And they said, they're asking, where is he at? And they said, well, he's no man ever spoke the way he does. And they said, what? Are you deceived as well? Just paraphrasing. Are you deceived as well? Which one of the Pharisees or our leaders here have believed upon this man? And so they made this one very interesting statement. They said, these people are cursed that do not follow the law. Now, most people don't think about it like that, but what's interesting is when he says they're cursed because they do not follow the law, that these were the people that believed on Jesus Christ. They were not law keepers. Isn't that interesting? Wow. The Pharisee says they were cursed because they didn't follow the law. And yet, so that is an open testimony that the believers of Jesus were not law keepers. And I don't know how many people ever pay attention to that.
Well, not many, right? In fact, a lot of Christians now are turning to like so-called Hebrew roots,
And that's
and
the
they're
point.
going back to law. And soon we're going to play Mark Biltz, how he endorses Noahide laws. And he actually says at the end of the video that he hopes and knows that when Jesus returns, he will enforce Noahide laws. Now, what Jesus is he talking about? Because, of course, the Jesus of Nazareth, or the Son of God, right? The Messiah that we know never spoke of Noahide laws, nor he said that he's going to return and enforce them.
No.
So he's talking about the Antichrist, and
They're
he's
gonna
leading
put
people
their-
to Antichrist.
They will try to take this so-called Messiah, and they will say to the
Yeah.
Christians, "This is your Jesus."
That's right. Exactly. That's what it's about to happen. Now, another Kabbalah online. So just people know that the 7 commandments or 7 Noahide laws are a very serious business for
This
Jews.
is part
Okay.
of the Chabad.org website, by the way, too.
Right. Well, here, we're going to leave them a link. So you can actually, the mitzvot of non-Jews, they're describing, the Noahide laws. They're talking about where the authority of Noahide laws comes from. And of course, they're non-biblical. Let me remind you, they're not out of our Bible. They're out of Talmud. So they are extra biblical.
Right.
And they even say that in Kabbalah and Hasidut, the 7 commandments are equivalent to the 7 lower Sefirot, like on the Kabbalah tree, lower Sefirot, because they even say that Gentiles are from lower spheres.
Right.
Okay, they're from evil and lower spheres. So they're explaining it to you here. They're telling you what the Noahide laws are. And now we go. Idolatry and blasphemy correspond respectively to Netzah and Hod, which are often paired together as the 2 supports of faith. Idolatry is a violation of divine rulership and blasphemy of divine love. Now, of course, they're saying God alone is to be worshipped directly and without any conjoining or intermediary. Do you see this?
Exactly.
Without any conjoining or intermediary, and he alone desires and hears prayer out of his love for all mankind. So what this is here, even though they didn't write it out, they're telling you that in upcoming New World Order, where headquarters will be in Zion, the New World Religion headquarters will be in Jerusalem, and nations will have to follow Noahide laws. Okay, they're saying that God alone is to be worshipped without any conjoining or intermediary, without Jesus, basically.
And think about it. And when Jesus said to the Pharisees, except that you believe that I am. He doesn't say I am he, except that you believe. And he says it in Hebrew, Ihaye, which is the one that spoke to Moses at the burning bush. He said, you'll die in your sins.
Exactly. But you see what I mean? They are prohibiting worship of Jesus Christ.
Right.
So here we go. And this is why, and of course they're talking about functioning judicial system, which means that in Talmud, a violation of any of the Noahide laws is punished by decapitation.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is a very serious business, very serious times we are in. And again, what is very disappointing is that among Christianity today, like this is Mark Biltz, okay, this is a video about Noahide laws, and he is actually speaking about them and describing what they are. He's not telling people they're from Talmud. Okay, and he's not telling people that under Noahide laws you cannot worship Jesus, and he's not telling people that that beheading is a punishment for violation of any of the Noahide laws.
Right.
So he's omitting all of this information, and he's saying how wonderful they are. And at the very end, listen to this.
The next thing.
Hold on. Sorry.
The 7 Noahide laws are now part of the United States laws by the Congress.
Yes, they are.
Yet,
Yes, they are.
So, 500 years from now, are we still supposed to? 20 people get all worked up over the Sanhedrin. Oh my goodness, Sanhedrin isn't even recognized by the nation of Israel, for heaven's sake.
That's not true. Sanhedrin is gaining power, more and more power, and it will be given power in a very when they have set up the temple. That's why they have prepared Sanhedrin. In 2003, Sanhedrin was born in Tiberias. Okay, they resurrected it,
yes.
resurrected
Right.
Sanhedrin in 2003 in Tiberias, and they have been preparing for that very moment, Steve, when they are going to build that temple and they bring their false Messiah, and Sanhedrin will be given power.
Well, look also, too, you had the former presidential candidate Michelle Bachmann and Congresswoman who traveled to Europe along with a huge political delegation pushing for the end of the United Nations, and of course Sanhedrin being the one that would take the place as a governing body
you
in
need
Israel.
to change your thinking. So anyway, I just, with that said, we can't be motivated by fear. Out there who aren't even enforcing gun laws that nobody recognizes, even Israel doesn't recognize. Adultery, it's good not to eat adultery. So if you think those are all horrible and demonic, well, then that's wacko thinking. So, but with that said, blessings be upon you, and may we all hope that these laws that God gave to Noah, someday, I'm sure they will be implemented when Jesus himself is here ruling and reigning on the earth, and we all pray for that day. Thank you.
Okay, so he's basically saying that when Jesus comes, he's going to implement the 7 Noahide laws, and he's looking forward to that.
And why didn't he do it while he was here then? Because he didn't.
But there is no such thing in 2,000 years of Christianity.
No.
Christians had no idea about Noahide laws or Jesus ever talking
Jesus
about them
said,
or him enforcing it on top of it upon his return. So this is all false information, but this is the example of what's happening to Christianity, because people like Mark Bills are talking to Christians. They have huge influence over thousands upon thousands of Christians. So my whole point about this is that this whole situation we are in right now, this chaos, the genocide, the economic collapse, upcoming reset, of course, and all this chaos that's happening, this is a spiritual war on a very deep level that leads to this Noahide laws.
Right.
So implementation of Noahide laws, one world religion, and then Noahide laws. That's why United States government prepared it in public laws. This is why a lot of other nations are preparing and putting Noahide laws within their legal systems. This is why Arabic nations are now making agreements with Israel about Noahide laws. So all of this has been prepared, but people are not paying attention to all of this.
Right, exactly. And very sad to see how these things are going on.
Yes.
And I guess as we're getting down to the end of our little broadcast here, you've also got the Jewish Utopia.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about this. I'm going to leave people with this. It's a book, The Jewish Utopia, and I found a PDF that's free, so people can read it for free online. This is by Michael Heger, PhD. He's a Jewish rabbi who wrote what is their utopia, what is their belief. Okay, and in that particular book, on page 28, I believe, now I don't, this is where it starts describing what the nations will be. Hold on just a second, I didn't prepare it, I'm sorry. Israel and the nations, the chapter 3. Okay, so once you start reading this, you will understand that they are believing that Israel is the only nation. That's why it was set up. This is why, so they can be the light to the nations, so they can bring the moral teachings to the world. And they are saying they will be going from house to house, marking people whether they are Israelitic or non-Israelitic, meaning that you will have to support Israel and submit yourself to moral laws of Israel. Otherwise, you won't be able to enter to this new order.
We're seeing this already.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
so this
that's
book, once
against
you read it, it describes it like to the T what their plans were.
Right.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to tell people. And then also we're going to do more readings later out of this very book, just kind of I'll highlight few important things that people need to pay attention to so you understand what is truly going on and where it all leads to.
Exactly. Well, thank you guys so much. Anything else you want to add to this?
No, that's all I wanted to do. And I will have 2 interviews coming up.
We have Deborah Tavares coming on again.
It's very important information.
StopTheCrime.net. Her channel on YouTube was taken down, by the way.
Yeah, and she does have a new one. She did put up a new one.
Is it on YouTube or?
She did a YouTube, and I'm trying to persuade you to go to BitChute, but it's kind of hard.
Well, also, then let's just, in saying though, besides that, Vincent Bruno will be on as well to discuss
He has
this
breaking
issue.
news as well. So yes, 2 more interviews coming up, and then of course we are going to continue bring you more and more news and updates.
Yes, and on Patreon, Jana's going to be writing some articles
daily
there.
news that you need to pay attention to. So finally, we are getting set up where I'm able to do that.
Yes, so we want to thank you for listening. Don't forget BitChute, Rise Up Children of God. I'll try to put a link in there for you. Jana's channel there. BitChute, of course, Israeli News Live. And then, of course, we've got brand new tube, iConnectFX.com, Israeli News Live, which is where you'll probably be seeing this on anyway. But we always try to load across the spectrum where we can, so you're able to see this. We don't want anybody to be able to miss anything. The only thing I guess with Patreon is we're getting a few little things extra that we don't get on everywhere because we don't have the ability to put everything.
And then also we have our app. Don't forget about
the app as well. Yes, I want to thank Bill for keeping that up for us as well. Bill downloads all the information that comes through iConnectFX.com onto the app, and our website is IsraeliNewsLive.org. And you can support the broadcast if you appreciate the work we do here. Our address is there, right there. It's Stephen Ben Noon at P.O. Box 156, Sunbright, Tennessee 37872. And also you can donate online, whichever you might prefer, if that's the way God leads your heart to do so. And don't forget, too,
our website,
EMPshield.com. And the code for that is INL50. So anyway, just to let you know those few things there so you know. And of course, don't forget, we got Fact News Network. I'll be catching up on some news and stuff. Kind of been behind a little bit. Been watching things, but I haven't really felt pressed to report a whole lot as of yet. A lot of things that's going on. But anyway,